Out of 4 ways I tried to get the Joy marker to work on mixed media, only one worked. Stay tuned to find out which one. Tara Jacobson, Artsy Fartsy Life. So today we're going to do a comparison about whether it's better to print your words that you want on your, this is 65-pound cardstock, and then ink it up, or if it's better to ink it up and then print the words. So we're going to start with, we got to get our Joy mat, and I cleaned it off a little bit. Let's see how we're doing sticky-wise. I don't think this is going to be as big a challenge for Joy here, because we're going to be writing instead of cutting today, but I am going to put it this way this time. And this is going to be a stencil we're going to make another time. I want her to write this out for me. Okay? So I have this on Design Space. I did it online. I want to take out my little cutting tool. I'm going to clean it off with some paper. And then we're going to put this pen in here. It has a little ledge that won't let it go too far in there. We're going to close it. We're going to put our mat in. We're going to say make it with mat, and it's going to write this out for me. Draw. See, it says draw. So we want it to say draw. So we're going to say continue. Joy. And then this is cardstock, and we're going to say make. So load tools and materials. Oh, it's going to want me to push this in. There we go. Okay, it's thinking about it, it's checking it, making sure it's aligned. Okay, I think one of the things we need to do is we need to weld it. Let's see, weld. And if we weld it, then it's going to make them all stick together. Now let's make it. On mat. Ah, see, that's what I wanted it to look like. Awesome. So all we had to do is weld it. We're going to say continue, and we're going to say cardstock, load materials. We probably have to take this little guy out, put him back in. There we go. And now it's going to write that for me. I'm excited for this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put gels and sprays and stuff on this. And then I am going to also put gels and sprays and stuff on another one, and then come back and have it right over that. And we'll see which way is best. Okay, so this is a paper I am going to use on my Day of the Dead challenge bag that I did, and I wanted these words, and I could never write these words these well. I just used a font that I've bought in the past. I used it in Design Space, and then which is this program you have to use. There are a million gals that can show you how to use Design Space. Once you know how to use Design Space, you can use it anywhere. But what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll use this pen and fill it in. There were other fonts I could have used that it would have colored it all in, but I don't mind coloring it in. And then I'm going to decorate this with all kinds of, maybe not Distress Oxide, but oxides, inks, things like that. And then I'm going to do that on a blank piece of cardstock. And then write on that, the same thing on that cardstock, and see which way turns out better. So I'll be back in a wee bit. Okay, I thought of an in-between one we could do too. I filled in these words, these 3 and half of George Eliot. And I'm sorry, they aren't perfect because I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see very well. But so I'm going to have afterwards, before not filled out, and then filled out. Just wanted to let you in on my test. Okay, so we are going to go easy on these cards. And we are going to do, and I have some extra ones so we can get our sloppies off and not waste them. Okay, we are going to do some sprays, some extra stencils with the sprays, and then we'll do a wee bit at the end of some archival rub. Okay, so I'm going to start by just putting some yellow down here. And I see that our test has gotten this far. Okay, so it doesn't work that way. So let's see how it works this way. All right. And we are going to use this to smoosh this down and get some, not waste our good inks. Nobody wants to waste their good ink. And this is just the 65-pound cardstock. Okay, we're going to do this. Let's get a little bit of, we'll get this out of the way because that did not work, which is fine. Oh, that was the dark. So let's get this lightened up. Okay, so we wanted some circles in there, and then we'll just move this over here. And now we need a kitchen towel. Squish it down. So funny. My friend is from Ireland, and she always says kitchen towels, but we watch Diane Reevely and all those girls, and so now a whole bunch of American girls are calling them kitchen towels too, right? Okay, so we got that. Nice. Okay. And we could dry it a little bit, but I think it'll be okay for right now. Let's just, this isn't to be perfect. This is to give us something to write words on, right? And I do want it to be fairly light so that we can see those words on there, right? Okay, let's smoosh this up. Let's smoosh this up. Kitchen towel in the middle. Oh, that's a nice back. Okay, I like where we're going here. And maybe we will try to do our stenciling more with the archival than with this. And we're gonna have to let this dry. I'm gonna get my dryer out. It does work. Okay, so I used the 65-pound cardstock because I heard that that was the best paper for Cricut. We want to give her the best chance, right? And now we're going to get our yellow. I always have yellow. And let's do some, do we want to do some more circles or we want to add some squares in here? Let's add a couple squares in here. So this is archival ink, so that means that it's permanent. So that won't mess it up. We may find that we need to, coat the back of this for it to write without smudging, right? So good thing we have 2 of them. That worked out great. So if we have to do another test, we can do another test. Okay, I'm going to go just around a little bit on the edge so it's not so darn white. All right. right, we may find we need to have permanent ink on here, or we may need to put a layer of mixed media collage, or let's figure it out. So exciting. Okay. That poor thing. He looks terrible. So you can't do it first. All right. Let's give this another dry, another good solid dry, because I'm sure that if that happened when I did that with that paper, it likes to be dry. And I feel bad because I know Cricut was used to having nice, calm, dry card makers, but now they got us. Okay, so we're going to come back. We're going to put the Cricut Joy back up. We got our sticky mat. Oh, we got a stencil flying around. That is not a huge shock. Oh, there's my circles. Okay. So now we want to get this stuck on this mat, and this mat appears to be stickier on this end. So we're going to use this end. And we're really, I'm going to put this back over here. We're really going to stick this down because I feel like the stickiness of the hold it has on the mat makes a huge difference to how well this thing works. Okay, so we're going to get this out. We're going to put our Joy pen back in. I had taken it out to fill in those ones. We're going to close this up, which is our good end. I think this is our good end. Okay. We're going to say continue. We're going to say cardstock. And go. Okay, so that looks great, right? So for us, our thinking, this is just like having the water reactive inks. So I'm going to do one more thing with this test. I'm going to print out, so I want to keep this one. I actually like this one for my project I'm actually working on. So I'm going to keep this one. And I remember the gal said to curve the mat and let the paper come off of it. So if you curve the mat and let the paper come off of it, your paper won't be as curly. So I'm going to take this off and I'm going to run it through one more time with this piece that's a little darker. I didn't want it quite that dark. And then we're going to try different things to stop the water reactivity of the ink so I can see what intermittent media I need to use. I'll be back. Okay, last but not least, we're going to try 4 things. We're going to try Distress Glaze. So we're going to and this is permanent. Distress Glaze. We are going to try Liquitex Matte Medium. We are going to try Clear Gesso, Liquitex Clear Gesso. And we are going to try one more, Modge Podge. Now, if this marker works like normal supplies do, we are going to be able to use some of these very easily. So I would assume the Distress Glaze is not going to move this at all. And what you do with Distress Glaze is this is kind of almost a beeswax coating is what I kind of think about it, but it's kind of a coating, and this product has no reactivity as if it was water. So see, we can put this over here. I would want to color it in. So you're not going to be able to go back and color it in very easily. But at this point, I'm just trying to get that to stay. So, and it gives it a little bit of a shine. So I will probably use that. I use that between a lot of my layers when I want to lock the water reactive things. Okay, next we're going to try a Liquitex matte medium. Now I have concerns about this one because it has liquid in it. And I have concerns about the Modge Podge. So we're going to try this. We're going to see what happens. And see, that pulls that color, right? Because, and let me tell you why it's pulling that color. It's pulling the color of the marker because there is water as part of this thing. So let's do Modge Podge next, because Modge Podge is gonna, I assume, have the same trouble. So we're gonna put some on there. These are kind of nice brushes. Don't I have any crappy brushes? I just bought a whole bunch of nice new brushes. All right, I guess we're gonna have to use a nice brush. Oh, yep, there it goes. It just took a minute for it to get going, and then it started googing around. So Modge Podge is going to be smeary. And last but not least, let's put those in the water so they don't get ruined. Okay, last but not least, sometimes clear gesso works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know whether it's going to work or not, but we know we have the Distress Glaze if we need to. So let's see. That's okay. Now if we can get the clear gesso to work, all right. Yep, that's just smearing a ton too. Okay, so for me, my answer is going to be Distress Glaze. What I will do is I will go color that other one I did, and then I'll just cover this whole layer with the Distress Glaze. It doesn't mean you can't do anything else to it. It just means that it's putting a coat of non-reactive material between the ink pen from the Joy and the next layer that I might want to, because I will want to do more to this. I'm going to want to distress the edges or splatters or do whatever. So we're going to have that Distress Glaze to stop the Joy from running. So, okay. So now we did our test. We did just spraying it on the paper beforehand, like printing it out and then trying to spray inks on it, and it did not work. And then we did Modge Podge, which didn't turn out terrible, but it definitely made a halo around the markers. We did Liquitex Clear Gesso, which you can see it's pulling the colors. We did Liquitex Matte Medium, which for sure was pulling the colors. And then the only one that didn't do anything was Distress Glaze. So what I did was, I printed it out on my final piece that I'm going to use. And then I colored in the lines with this Posca pen. And this is a acrylic paint pen. So it should have made it a little bit more permanent anyways. But like George Eliot is still just the Joy, Cricut Joy ink. Okay. And now, and heaven forbid, don't stop at this one. Then I put the Distress Glaze on it. Okay. And I let it rest. So I put the Distress Glaze on it about an hour ago, maybe half an hour ago, and I live in Florida, so it does take a wee minute for things to dry here. And I put a lot on, I mean, like I didn't slather it on, but I probably put a little bit more than I normally would on. And I can feel it on here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some water. Now you wouldn't wanna dip this in water, right? This has background inks and all kinds of stuff. But just to show you, let's see. Just to show you, it now beads up. So you should be able to see that it kind of beads up and it will not bleed all over. So the beauty of this is that I could have the Joy write, which I don't hate my writing, but I definitely don't want to have to write something this fancy. I could use the Joy marker, and it's right here. The Joy fine point, I believe. Skinny mini point. To write it, then I filled it in, because it outlined it. It didn't fill in all that. Then I wrote it with the Posca pen. Filled it in with the Posca pen. And then I put the microglaze, the Distress microglaze over it, and it made it so that I could do more to it if I want, and all the ink will not bleed. You saw I just sprayed it with water to show you, but I could put inks on it, I could put paint on it, I could put things like that, and it's not going to wick the color like this all did. See this one, even on this one still, that Distress Glaze just puts a clear coat on it. But because that's a water activating marker, if you put some other kind of clear coat on it, it's gonna run. So, and you could use, I have a plan to find out if I could buy permanent markers or use my Posca pen right on it. So we're gonna try that too. But if you're using your Cricut Joy pen and you don't want it to run, get that Distress Glaze. Tara Jacobson, Artsy Fartsy Life.